Get ready for more sunshine and warmer temperatures before a midweek cold front pushes through the Pacific Northwest. Hey everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Darrell Winninger from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center, and this next cold front brings several more changes back into our forecast. So we're about to take a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. Look at the changes we've had in the last 24 hours, what's expected between now and the time this next front pushes through, and what happens after that. And if you've been waiting on some real summertime heating, that is coming up, but not until we get further into the 7-day planner. So let's jump into your most reliable forecast. Across the high desert today, a mixture of sunshine and clouds. Now, earlier today, there were a few sprinkles on radar. Those have since cleared earlier this morning, and this is what we've been seeing for most of the afternoon. Getting into the evening hours, a mixture of tons of sunshine and some clouds with no rain in sight. So just to backtrack through the last 12 hours, there were a few light showers earlier today, but look at this. Now, we don't have the lightning counter that it doesn't go back 24 hours, but you can see where those thunderstorms rolled through, and a whole lot of rain was across the high desert. Also, a whole lot of thunderstorm activity. Now, let's talk about what's been happening. Satellite and radar shows only some clouds over the high desert, and earlier a few sprinkles showed up through the Cascades, but nothing major, not much in the way of thunderstorm activity until you get further over to the eastern side of the state. Right now, just along the 84 corridors where we have this scattered thunderstorm activity, and further to the south, there's not much happening either. Over south central Oregon, just some in and out clouds. So ultimately, it has been a gorgeous day on the high desert, and the closest precipitation well off to the east. All of that is part of a low pressure system that's rolling out of the Pacific Northwest, or I should say through the rest of the Pacific Northwest, and high pressure is building into our region, but just a little further off to the west. That's where our next system is, and there's a warm front just offshore. Now, because of our ridge of high pressure, that cold or warm front is going to be slow to get here, but by tomorrow we are expecting more afternoon clouds, a bump in temperatures, and then Wednesday the cold front from this low pressure system pushes right through the Pacific Northwest. So when we look around our low, we can see where the most of the development is. Further off to the west, though, there is another low that's rolling it through the northern Pacific Ocean and into the Gulf, just the southern edge of the Gulf of Alaska. And through the next few days, we get a mixture of impacts from those two low pressures. But further to the south, a broad ridge of high pressure, that's what's keeping it clear. That's what's bringing us tons of sunshine, and that's what's going to be clearing before our next cold front rolls through the region. So with this enhanced satellite, infrared satellite imagery, you could really make out the tall clouds of the thunderstorm activity that has prompted some warnings well off to our east, but over the high desert, it's just been some in and out clouds. So as we go forward through the rest of this evening, we're not expecting much in the way of precipitation at all. So let's set this forecast model to right now and go forward through the rest of this evening and tonight. Clear. By Tuesday afternoon, some clouds roll into the high desert. That's our warm front. And then fast forward a little bit more, and by Wednesday, our cold front starts to roll through the high desert. Starting early Wednesday morning, a few sprinkles in the Cascades, some showers in our lower elevations, and then through the afternoon, there's a chance of a few thunderstorms developing, but any thunderstorm activity is going to be few and far between by Wednesday. So Wednesday's system is not very strong. Meanwhile, when it comes to relative humidity, we're sitting in the teens and 20s as far as percentage goes until you hit the higher elevations. Once you get to these slopes of the Cascades in the 30s, so not excessively dry, but not muggy either across all of Central Oregon. Now here, in the last 24 hours, temperatures have topped out in the 80s with some 70s and even 90 degrees in Warm Springs. Some of these are holdovers from 24 hours ago, and currently we're sitting in the 80s and 70s across our Tri-County area. It is 81 in Madras, Redmond, and Bend. It's 79 in Prineville, 78 in Sister, 73 in Sun River, 75 in Lapine, and 85 in Warm Springs. But that puts a huge change up across the high desert. Some of us are still close to where we were yesterday. Others are 5 degrees cooler. Some of us, on the other hand, are 16 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. The big reason for that is this time yesterday, thunderstorms were already pushing through parts of the high desert, and that rain cooling action just brought that temperature down a lot. So here through the rest of this evening and tonight, tonight, temperatures eventually fall back into the 40s. By tomorrow, lower to mid 80s. Still very high UV intensity forecast with temperatures in the 80s. The temperature really doesn't play much at all to the UV intensity. It's how much sunshine you're getting and how much of that is direct sunshine. We have AM sunshine. By the PM, some clouds, but we're not looking at overcast conditions at any point through the day, so very high UV intensity. And going forward through the next couple of days, Tuesday does bring some late clouds into high desert, but we stay dry and we will be warmer. 80s with a few 70s out there. And I went the wrong way, so let's try that again. 80s with a few 70s out there by Wednesday, off and on light showers. Some of us just getting sprinkles, others not getting wet at all, and there's a low chance of thunderstorm development, but we also get a dip in temperature, so most of us topping out in the 70s with some 80s. By Thursday, back through the 70s, reaching into the 80s for some parts of the high desert, really topping out on either side of 80 degrees, but that sunshine stays with us and a warming trend continues. Starting on Thursday. Now Thursday it's not going to be much warmer, but Thursday's a transition day. That's when we see the changes that are going to lead to high pressure developing over the Pacific Northwest, continuing right into the weekend and bringing our temperatures not only to near average for this time of the year, which is 89 for today, but well above average by the time we get further into the weekend. So here's how this plays out. Through the next couple of hours, we're tracking this warm front right here. Our cold front is stretched back out over the Pacific Ocean. Now for tonight, the warm front stays well off to our west. We're not looking at much in the way of cloud cover. Now this warm front is going to start to fizzle out as it makes landfall, but Tuesday, 2 p.m., we see that cloud cover. That's part of our warm front. By Wednesday, we start to get the impacts from this full system. A little bit of shower activity once we start to see those cells come down the east slopes of the Cascades. Still has to do with our warm front. Mild temperatures overnight. By Wednesday, during the afternoon hours, we're looking at some hit-and-miss showers with a low chance of thunderstorm development. By Thursday, back to sunshine, and then the heating trend begins. Looking past that with our long-range forecast model, it shows that by Thursday night, we have already cleared out. By Friday, sunshine. By Saturday, sunshine. By Sunday, some light clouds, but mostly sunshine, and that continues right into next week. As this high pressure is sitting over the Pacific Northwest, a heating trend sets up that takes our temperatures climbing straight through the 80s, 90s to maybe reaching triple digits for some parts of the high desert by this time next week. So between now and Wednesday at 5 a.m., we're dry. Through Wednesday, that's when we're getting some of these light showers or sprinkles through the Tri-County area. Ultimately, by the time it's said and done, by Thursday at 11 p.m., once we've already cleared out, we are looking at parts of the high desert getting wet, low chance of thunderstorm activity. Now, even this afternoon, winds are a little gusty at times. We're talking gusts of 20 plus miles per hour. Actual wind speeds about 5 to 15, 5 to 16 miles per hour. And here through the next few hours, winds are going to be breezy and gusty at times. Then overnight, we're back down to a gentle breeze. By Tuesday, late in the day, we're talking a couple hours before sunset, late afternoon, early evening, temperatures pick up to breezy at times. And then by Wednesday, we don't see too much in the way of strong winds, except for gusts around some of these outflows from some of the showers that are expecting to develop. So for tonight, 50s and 40s with a few 30s. By Tuesday, we're looking at lower to mid 80s and some 70s on the map, mostly sunshine. By Wednesday, some showers. By Thursday, clearing. By Friday, the heating begins, and it takes us through the lower to mid 90s into the mid to upper 90s by Monday. Now, some of the long-range forecast model guidance is hinting at some triple digits by the time we get to the beginning of next week. So here's a look at your weather headlines for this Monday, August the 4th. Roller coaster temperatures are on the way. More sunshine is expected, and it's going to be dry and breezy except for Wednesday. Wednesday is that next cold front, and some light showers are possible. After that, we are heating right into the weekend. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News with the latest headlines and your most reliable forecasts. See you then.